What's going on, everybody? This is D-Style Boxing. Thanks to those joining me live and to those that be joining me on archive. I'm being joined by Joe Habib from Ringside Reporter, Maestro from Leave It in the Ring, and live at 5, D. Jefferson on the road from Speak Your Mind Sports Talk, Chief Funky, the second half of HCP. Check out the HCP podcast on my channel every Tuesday and HCP Uncensored on Wednesday at Chief Funky 84. Shout out to Dave 408 from the Shoe Shine. All right, and also Christine Lopez from In the Ring with Christine. Okay, we got Philly here, we got Andre, we got a Run PMC, and all that good stuff. How's it going, everybody? What's up?
Órale!
Órale, raza!
Arriba la raza!
Arriba! That's right. Check it out, man. We're gonna go ahead and get straight to it. We'll open the lines in a little bit, but bear with us because we're gonna get the show started, and I want to get started with a very, very hot topic. Okay, so first of all, okay, the show today we will cover Bruce Lee. Stay tuned, stay here. I'm telling you, it's gonna be good. Okay, if you're listening on archive, please hit that like button. Wow, and all that good stuff. Okay, that's right. There you go. All right, we're going to start it with Stephen A. Smith. He says, as far as women's boxing, he says he likes. I think there's an awful lot of women who are incredibly qualified to do the jobs they're doing. While I jump off the bandwagon, where I jump off the bandwagon is where they try to engage in physicality. For example, I don't ever want to see a woman boxing a man. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see a woman in the UFC fighting a man, even though there are some women out there that will kick a dude's butt. When I think about pugilistic sports, I don't like to see women involved in that at all. I just don't like it. I wouldn't pass. I wouldn't promote making laws to prohibit them from doing so. But I don't want to see women punching each other in the face. I don't want to see women fighting the octagon and stuff like that. That's just me. What I'm adamant would be against them fighting men. I don't think that's cool. I'm not a proponent of that. Plus, you don't ever want to give men the license to believe that they have a right to be physical with a woman. To be quite honest with you, I don't want to do that. Now, granted, he's all over the place. He's talking about women fighting men and all that stuff. I don't know if this has something to do with some of like the transgendered men fighting. I don't know if it has anything to do with that. There's no context behind that. So that I've seen. Maybe it is. Maybe somebody in the chat or the panel knows more. Christine, I want to go to you.
I don't want to see a man and a woman fighting either. I had seen a post earlier from Raquel Miller, and he had quoted, he doesn't want to see two women punching each other in the face. And then she went on to show his video of him doing mitts or whatever. And I'm like, I don't think that he has the authority to talk about that. I know y'all all seen the video, and I don't want to be ugly, and I'm not going to talk about anybody. I'm just going to say watch the video. But as far as men and women, I don't want to see that either. But women fighting women, why not? I mean, we have a right to do whatever we feel and choose to do. So why not?
All right. Okay, Joe B, talk to us. What did you make about that whole spill?
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think he's talking about transgender, man transitioning into a woman and then fighting in combat sports against women. So biological men who had the surgery to become women fighting women. I think that's what he's talking about, because that's been a hot topic lately too. And believe it or not, there's a strong support for that. And then if you say that it shouldn't happen, then the woke crowd will come after you, like you're against transgenders, you're against the LGBT, and that's where I think I draw the line. I think if you're a biological man, if you want to have the surgery to become a woman, that's your decision. But again, your bone structure doesn't change, your muscle mass doesn't change. You may change a little bit hormonally, but you still have a lot of those male traits that you were born with. And if you carry that into the ring or the cage against a female, that is definitely going to be an unfair advantage. And I just don't think there's a logical debate to prove me wrong in that regard. So I think that's where he's coming from, in my opinion.
Okay, all right. Milcar, what do you make of his statements? Muted. Milcar, you're muted. Yeah, you're still muted. And I can't. You're muted on. There you go. Go ahead.
I was muted on StreamYard. I was saying that I think Stephen A. Smith should have been more clear in terms of what he was talking about. Because if he's talking about women, he should say women. If he's talking about transgender, he should say transgender. Because last time I checked, I didn't really think that cisgendered females were interested in fighting cisgendered males. Maybe that's new to me. I've never heard that issue come up. And then I kind of have to watch what I'm saying on this because I'm a teacher in New York City. And New York City is a place where a girl can decide that she's a boy and swim in swim meet against boys, but then also swim in the little Speedos and show her top because it would be discrimination if she were forced to wear a bikini or like one of the one pieces. So that's actually happened in New York City. And it's kind of where we're going these days with things. But one thing I'll disagree with Joe on, I don't often disagree with Joe. I don't actually think you can have surgery to make you a woman if you're born a man. I think you can have surgery to make you transgendered. And I think that transgendered people should have all of the rights that everybody else has. But I think it stops when you go and you say that now you're a different sex, because sex is biological.
I agree with you.
Gender is a social construct. You want to change your gender, that's up to you. But physiologically, I agree with Joe on this. Born a male, even if you get a surgery, you're still a male. You still have the elevated testosterone. You may, have what we've done to my cats and my dogs, which is kind of getting rid of the testicles. But at the end of the day, my pets are still males, whether they have the testicles or not. So,
but here's the problem. But here's the problem.
Yeah.
When they do have the surgery, they want to be called women. They don't want to be called men anymore. They classify themselves as women.
Well, I mean, they can classify themselves as that, but and again, I'm in New York City. This is the last place I should be saying this. But my view is that sex is biological and gender is a social construct. And Rachel Dolezal took a lot of heat because she joined the NAACP and was calling herself black. Well, I mean, she took a lot of heat for that. But we live in a society where a woman will be ridiculed for darkening her skin and frizzing up her hair. But people, can have major reconstructive surgery, and there are demands that people call themselves something that they're not biologically. So, look, I'm all for LGBT. I think that every gay person, every transgender person should have every right of every heterosexual person. But to me, that does not extend to calling yourself something that you were not biologically born as, and then competing in something dangerous like combat sports. And I'll just leave it at that.
Absolutely. Talk to us, D. Jefferson. What are your thoughts on the comments that Stephen A. Smith left? You there, D. Jefferson?
I think everyone's on mute today.
No, you're there. He's unmuted.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I agree with a lot of points that Emil Carr and Joe made, and Christine as well. I think that we do need more context on what exactly Stephen A. Smith meant by what he was saying. Because look, guys, when it comes to men fighting women, I don't think that any of us want to see that. I don't think anybody wants to see that. With the transgender situation, look, we look Joe spoke on this. Like muscle fibers, even guys, like our muscle fibers are different. When they tear, they grow quicker and stronger. Our bone density is, we have more extra layer of skin, men do, right? Like we're built for war. Like literally, men are built for war and hunting and that type of thing. It's no way a man should be going in there to fight on a woman. I don't care what kind of surgery you have. That's still an advantage. I mean, you talk about PEDs, bro, that's way more of an advantage than PEDs. Like seriously, man. And I don't agree with any of that mixing of it when it comes to combat sport. Nah, that to me that's no good. I would just really like for Stephen A to clear up exactly what he meant, because if he meant that solely just transgenders or like co-ed, like mixing like that, I agree. But if he meant not seeing women fight at all, like Stephen A, go sit down somewhere and shut the hell up, man. Like, yeah, I like women's sports. I like the WNBA. I like women's boxing. I think, I get a lot of guys that get pissed off with me in boxing when I say that women's boxing on the overall is more exciting than men's boxing, because the ladies go in there and let their fucking hands go. It's not a lot of these technical fights where we see guys dancing around each other like that Boar Fest with Rances Bartholomew and Robert Easter. You know what I mean? Like, nah, these women go in there and give it their all and let their hands go. So I enjoy women boxing, women's basketball, MMA, whatever. So Stephen A, I just wish I knew exactly what he meant, because if he meant not seeing women fight at all, I think that's a bit chauvinistic.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Shout out to Retro Boxing and Documentaries. Great content over there. Make sure you go check out the Salvador Sanchez documentary. Shout out to Blood, Nando, Yama. Shout out Run PMC, Outlaw. Let us know what you think in the chat. And again, reminder, we'll open up the lines to see if you guys want to, call in and give us your thoughts. Here's what I want to say. There is definitely some confusion with the quotes. It's the ones that I've seen, and so I agree that I don't want to see men punch women, like, you know what I mean? But he did say, though, he does not want to see women fight. He did say that, like that part does need to be cleared up, in my opinion. Because if he feels that he doesn't want to see women fight, like, look, at the end of the day, it is his opinion. And a lot of male boxing fans do feel that way. Let's not act like there's not a segment of fans that don't, okay? And all that don't want to see women all bloody and all that, but guess what? It's not your choice anyway, right? Like at the end of the day, if these women want to, they're making the choice. It's what they want to do. If you cover sports in that position, you have to be respectful to the athletes, in my opinion. At the end of the day, especially if you're going to be hitting the mitts in that trash fashion that you do, Stephen A. Smith, or you to tell anybody how to do what, this and that, and the third, okay? But Chief Funky, tell me, what do you think, man? What are your thoughts on the comments from Stephen A. Smith? You're muted, Chief Funky.
Man, it's a curse. It's going around today, I guess. But I definitely want to get more context on what Stephen A. is really trying to say. It was kind of hard to I guess understand fully. I'll have to say this, man. For me, I've said this a lot since we've been doing these shows and since we've been covering a lot of women's boxing, that it took me a while for women's boxing to kind of grow on me, because, like I said, I grew up in a household where the men protect the women. I was the youngest in my family for a really long time, and anytime we would, spend the night at our grandparents' house on the weekend, it'd be me and three of my female cousins, and anytime we were going anywhere, we were just going to walk down the street to the store or to the park. Even though I was the youngest, it wasn't like, hey, you watch him because he's the youngest. It was like, no, you protect the women, because that's your job as a young man. You protect them, and when you get older, you do the same. So, I get it, man. I get what that is, but these women are skilled now. They're trained. They're skilled, and they know what they're doing, and they know what they're getting themselves into when they go into a boxing gym and when they step into the ring and put the gloves on. So, you know, I've gotten over that. But as far as what you guys are saying, about what he's saying here about men hitting or fighting women, like I'm definitely not for that. Even if they are quote unquote transgender, whatever it is that they call themselves nowadays, it's just too much for me to keep up with, to be honest with you. But you know, if you're born a man and you turn yourself into a woman later in life, like you should not be competing with women in a combat sport. Just period. Like to me, there's no exception to that. It should just be naturally born women against naturally born women, naturally born men, naturally born men. That's it. You know, there should be no cross in between, man. So that's what I say, man. You know, these women are skilled, so let them do what they do. You know.
I think he left the comments open ended because again he works for ESPN. ESPN's owned by Disney. I just think that he's afraid of the cancel culture. He's afraid of the woke crowd, and ESPN and Disney are very, very socially liberal. So he has to be very careful on how he words that. But I think he did mean the transgender woman fighting biological women. I think that's what he meant, but he didn't want to come out and say it because he didn't want to get canceled because. Hey, someone else said it too. I forget someone else said it.
We're going to go to 408 next, so we could just make sure we get everybody's thoughts here and open up the line. But go ahead, 408, give us your thoughts on this, man.
Stephen Smith is always mired in controversy. I won't be surprised if down the line he finds himself in the same position Paulie Malignaggi found himself. Now, going off these quotes, just the printed quotes, I don't see. And I don't want to jump into this transgender issue because I just don't see it in the context of these quotes. He does begin the statement by saying that there are women very qualified to fight. But then in the second paragraph, the quote, he says that when it comes to pugilistic sports, he doesn't want to see women engaged in that. There's like a segment of the population that still don't want to see women ever play in the NFL, even though we're getting very close to women being on teams as kickers professionally. We're getting very close to seeing our first woman in the NFL. There's people that don't want to see women engaged in combat for the U.S. Army and our military forces. He ends this quote by saying that he's adamant against women fighting men. So then he skews a whole different direction. But it's in here. It says he doesn't like to see women in combat sports. I think he's got to be very careful how he threads these positions because I don't know who's asking him that. You know, there's a lot of fans that love to see women in high-profile sports like this, and it's growing more and more every day.
So before you go, Joe, if anybody wants to call in, let us know in the chat. If you want to get on this conversation really quick, for the callers, you're like, just keep in mind you're on the clock. Like as soon as you come in, tell us what you think, and then we're going to keep it moving, just so you guys know. But go ahead, Joe. It looks like you were going to say something.
Do you remember in Real Sports when they had that story? They had the transgender wrestler. She was wrestling she was wrestling biological women, and they were allowing her to do it, but there was a big uproar against it, and she was just murdering everybody. And then there was an MMA transgender fighter as well, fighting biological women, and she was crushing everybody. I mean, he didn't come right out and say it, but in what other way could a man fight a woman? Like in professional boxing, in professional MMA, you can't have a man fight a woman or a woman fight a man. The only way that could happen is if you have a transgender woman or a transgender woman fighting a woman, a biological woman. That's the only way that it can happen. So that's why I think he means that. I can't say for sure he means that, but it sure as hell sounds like he means that. Because in what other context has that ever happened where you saw a man and a woman actually get into a boxing ring or an octagon and fight? We have seen transgender women fight biological women, though. That has happened before. And there's been a big uproar for it. And then we see a lot of transgender women on female wrestling teams and stuff like that. So, that could be what he meant. But again, he has to be careful how he words it because of the network he works for.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Yeah, just real quick. This ain't gonna take long, but if I'm not mistaken, right? If you're a transgender woman and they know it, right, and you commit a crime, they don't throw you in a woman's jail, do they? Don't they put you in there with the men?
I'm not sure.
I believe they do. I believe they put you right in there. If you're a man, they put you in there with the men. And the whole idea is that, like, same thing, the level of danger. right? A man can go in there just beating the hell out of these women.
Well, here's
Like
the thing.
I don't. It's just silly to me.
Here's the thing too, like because transgender women, they want to be called women, they don't want to be called men. So why even have the term transgender then? I mean, that signifies that you changed from man to woman. So you were born a man and you changed,
Right.
you changed to woman. So you're
I think
basically,
the idea there, Joe, is that you can transition your gender, but you can't transition your sex.
well, they think they can. They
Well,
say
I mean,
they say
people think a lot of things that I don't believe.
Yeah.
So
and that's what I don't agree with it either, but that's what the debate is. We're having that
It's
debate
crazy.
right now. We're having that debate right now, like in social in society in America.
Go ahead, go ahead, Christine.
I was just gonna say, and there's, to me, I feel like there should be a league for transgender athletes for whatever
Yes.
sport it is.
Yes.
And it's not just the physical thing; it's also the mental. Anyone that goes through transition, they go through a lot. I mean, they're made fun of, they're talked about. There's so many pressures that we don't have to go through. And then the athletes that have to fight them, they also have to go. They go through this mental, like, oh my God, it used to be a man. I got to fight, whatever. So, we know that boxing, I don't know any other sport, but boxing at least is like 80% mental, So there's so many other issues besides the physicalities. So why not have a league for transgender athletes? I don't think that they should fight each other. I don't. It's not fair. I wouldn't want my daughter to get in the ring with someone that used to be a man, because of the physical strength. But like I said, there's so much more. There's also that mental aspect.
In the Olympic world, there's often been rumors in track and field, speculation about certain athletes in track and field globally.
yeah, Casper Semenya, the
Exactly.
sprinter.
That's who I'm thinking about. So it's not that the sports world is not going to have to address this in the future. But I mean, even in current boxing today, we had that Alejandra from Mexico that fought for a title, and she was doped up on male hormones, giving her an unfair advantage. So yes, the boxing world does need to address these unfair issues.
And I've seen these women, like when we went to women's worlds in Russia, I was like, oh my gosh, this clearly does not
Can't
look
be
like
natural
at all. And what do you do? Can we check your pant? I mean, what do you do? How do you address that?
Right, absolutely. Well, look, guys. Yeah. Look, at the end of the day, all I could say is the following, man. In terms of Stephen A., he's getting a lot of heat today, like he is, right? But all I ask people is the context. A lot of context is missing in what he said. When I was reading through it, that's the first thing that came to my mind. Like, well, why is he talking about men hitting women? And it's I'm trying to figure this out here because people were giving
figure it out. D-Style. The man has made his career off making hot takes and being controversial. Right. I mean, that's literally how he's made his money.
So he's leaving himself some plausible deniability, right? Like well, that's not what I meant to say.
Yeah, exactly.
It's open-ended. All the quotes are open-ended.
Yes.
Yeah. Plus, I couldn't find the audio. I don't know if it's out there or not. I couldn't find the audio of it. This is what people are writing down. So, I mean, is it from his radio show? I'm not sure. But those are the quotes I got, man. What's going on, D. Hodges, Philly, Iris, Drew, Evo? Remember, guys, the numbers in the bottom there. Just go ahead and call. You could let us know that you want to call in as well. So Milcar knows who's calling in as well. So all that good stuff. And you could ask us about any of the topics that we're talking about. Shout out to the Living in Ring Network. You can listen to us on iHeart, Pandora, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, and please give us those 5 stars on the Apple Podcast. Shout out to JC. With the Ringside Reporter logo, free promotion, babe. He's the biggest friend.
You know why he has that logo? He lost a bet to, I think, Eric.
Okay. Oh shit.
Is that what it is?
So he has to put that logo on his icon forever now.
He's a walking like a chat promotion.
He's a billboard. He's a billboard. I sent him a T-shirt. I sent him a T-shirt too.
Okay, all right. All right. Rob PMC says he wants to call in. Go ahead, brother. If it's this topic, go ahead and call in. All right.
Lines are open, man.
Lines are open. Go ahead and do it quick, guys, because we got to keep it moving. You know what I mean? So if you're gonna call in, Call in. Go ahead.
I think Christine made the best point on this topic. They really need their own league. You know, like you can't have men, natural born men, going against the women like that. It's just not fair, man. It's just not fair to the women. You know,
that would take two things to happen. G Funky, one, there'd have to be enough transgender athletes, and I don't think there are in any sport. And then two, it would require some self-awareness and acknowledgement of the fact that well, I won't fill in the rest. I'll just leave it. I'll pull a Stephen A.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day,
you're going to be getting some phone calls tomorrow.
Let's just leave it at that. All right. Where's Nate Campbell when you need him?
Where's Nate Campbell? That's right.
At Milk Card 3, they would need financing investors. Like, is there somebody that's going to invest in that? Because it ain't just going to come from nowhere. Like, you know what I mean?
Let me say the things some other people can't say. Let me just say it, okay? Somebody's got to say it, okay? And that's it. But actually, go to the phone line. Go ahead.
We've got area code 408 on the line right now.
Hey guys, it's Run PMC from the chat board.
How's it going, Run
PMC? What up, baby?
Talk to us.
Hey, what's going on? No, I just wanted to touch on pretty quickly on the transgender in boxing and just sports in general. I mean, I think it does need to be addressed, especially across how many sports it's going to touch. But I think it's also a very slippery slope because if we have, say, like you have a male coming to a female, I don't think that person should be allowed to fight females. I think that's pretty obvious. And then I also think if you're a female going to a male, and then I don't think you should be allowed to fight males born males either, because then inherently you're probably going to be enhanced because you're going to be taking testosterone and possibly other hormones to make you to support any processes that you want to be as a male. So I think it's just it could be very dangerous to make these sort of decisions, but it does need to be addressed in some way. And I agree with possibly having different leagues. I think that would probably be the fairest option and most comfortable option. And especially in the combat sports and any type of strength-based sport, whether that's like if you're in like Olympic throwing or any type of Olympic weightlifting. So I hope it gets addressed soon, but that's sort of my view on that topic.
All right. I want to ask you one more thing before you go, really quick. Is Bruce Lee was he the real deal?
I don't know. I mean, it's a little before my time, but I think you'd have to. I'll defer and answer that question.
The answer is no. Just say no.
Don't listen to him. Run PMC.
All right. Hey, but thanks for calling in, brother. If you like another topic as we move on, you can call back, bro.
No, yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Here we go, guys. Hey, guys, again, call in, man. Give us your thoughts. You know what I mean? The phone number is right there in the bottom. And here's what I wanted to say, okay? Look, at the end of the day, like this is just the way it is, okay? I believe everyone has a right to live the life that they want to live. Okay, that's number one, all right? So it has nothing to do with that. However, when it comes to sports, okay, the most violent, the most, I'm talking, the most violent of the two sexes and the strongest of the two sexes is the male. Like, that's just the way it is. Okay, physics doesn't lie, and we don't need males competing with females, okay? It has nothing to do with however, whatever life you want to live it. Live it to the fullest. I ain't going to bother you. But we can't have, it's unfair. I'm sorry. We had a weightlifter that not only broke records, destroyed every weightlifting record known for women. Like, that's ridiculous. That's not fair. If you have a little girl, that's not fair. It's not fair that she has to compete with someone who's just biologically just stronger, regardless of the surgeries. It's not fair to women. It just isn't. I just got to be honest, because if it doesn't matter, then let's just get rid of women's sports. If it doesn't matter, just fuck it. Every sport, women and males, let's just do it then. If it doesn't matter. Of course it matters. That's why we have women run with women. There's a reason, okay, why, a transgender person, goes from male to female and then shatters shatters track and field records. Why do you think that is? Like, it's common sense. Okay. Now, if they want to have their own league, like, to me, I think they should be able to compete with a man if they want. I mean, I'm not against that at all. But let's say, for whatever reason they don't want to, I'm okay with them having their own leagues and stuff. Now, if it doesn't sell, people don't watch it, that's a different story, right? But that's my thoughts on that. I want to go ahead and do this, okay? Because we need to move on. All right. I'm gonna run for I'm gonna run like for mayor one day or something. This shit's gonna pop up. You know what I mean? That's why I cover my eyes and shit. But anyway, good thing I'm never running for public office. Christine.
Yes.
Who is the best junior welterweight 140 pounder in the world today, right now? Who's the best in the world?
In the world?
In the world.
The whole world?
Not in Scotland. In the world.
The whole world? Or the universe?
My favorite or the best in the world? No.
Both. Actually, both. I apologize. Both. Your favorite and the best.
Well, they're different. So I'm going to say my favorite right now is somebody I've been watching since the amateurs, and that's Hammer Hands Julian Rodriguez. I really see big things for him. The first time I ever saw him was at National Golden Gloves, and he beat one of our guys that was top of the line in my city, in my town, like nothing. And everything that I've seen from him is just awesome. And I don't know why his name is not more out there, bigger, because I think that he is one of the next best things.
Okay. All right. So okay. Fair enough. Hey, 408.
Have you heard of him?
No.
No, I'm like,
oh my God.
I'm gonna go do my homework on this kid.
I was trying to move on before you asked that question. Yeah.
Christine, I literally
What's
went to
Boxford? Hold on.
Hey, I literally went there. I didn't see.
Are you making this person up?
Christine, that's why you're here. That's why you're here, Christine, to enlighten us.
You're here to educate.
We don't know everything. We don't know everything, Christine.
Right now, like a bunch of people went to boxrec.com and they looked at dude up. Okay. I know who he is. Shit, I know. You know what I mean? I know who he is. I knew it was along, But okay, all right, fair enough. Hey, 408.
I'm going to speculate that Jose Ramirez is going to win this fight against Josh Taylor. That makes him the world's best.
Oh, shit. Is he your favorite, too? Is this a California bias? Talk to me. What's going on over here?
It may very well be a California bias. But notably, I don't include Fresno in Northern California, where I'm from.
Okay. So. All right. And shout out to Apple Type, and all that good stuff. If you guys want to call in and give us who's your favorite or the best 140 pounder in the world, just go ahead and call in, man. You can let us know. Okay, so that's who's your favorite, though? I'm sorry, I think I missed it for 08.
Well, I think if you're asking me who I think is overlooked and may potentially be a champion, I think Jose Zepeda has a very good chance in a rematch against any of these guys. That
was the dark horse, but we're not there yet. But
okay.
Is that your dark horse?
Fast forwarded.
This guy's fast forwarding through us over here. Hold on. Whoa. Okay. Okay, that's cool. It's cool. Okay. Hey, Chief Fucky. Who's your favorite at 140, and who's the best? If it's the same guy, just say, but your favorite and the best.
It's the same guy for me, and that's Jose Ramirez, man. I'm good. Like I said this before, man. I'm always going to support him because of the work that he does here in California for the farm workers. That hits home with me. My family came from, when they got here to California, that was what they did for work. That was how they survived, out picking in the fields. And there's still people, all through the time, all ever since then, still now, they're still doing it. They're still not getting what they need. And he's made it an issue, and he's put it out there for everybody to see. So I'm always going to support him for that. And but I do think that he is the best right now. Obviously, he's the unified champion, and he's looking for undisputed. I think he's going to knock Josh Taylor's head off.
Okay, all right. Hey, I love that, man. When me and Chief Funky agree, we're undefeated. I just want to make sure y'all understand right now, okay? All right? Milcar, who's your favorite 140 pounder in the world? Who is the best 140 pounder in the world? If it's the same person, let me know.
My favorite 140 pounder. Ooh. I haven't thought about that. I mean, I'm not. There's a bunch of guys I like.
All
I
right.
obviously like Jose Ramirez. I also like
The
Prograis.
enunciation, like Ramirez.
Funny enough, yeah, I grew up with a mom who would not let me say De La Hoya. She's like, "You don't pronounce the H in Spanish," and I was like, "Okay, yeah," but everybody does.
Loya.
Anyhow, I don't know though if I agree that he beats Taylor like that. Right now I'm leaning towards Taylor as much as I agree with every other thing that my man G Funky said. I think Ramirez is in for a really tough fight. So Taylor's a savage, and I mean they look at that round that he got touched up a bit by Postol, but guess what? It's boxing. You're gonna get hit, and you know what? He came back. And Postol's an elite guy.
Yeah.
I mean, his only 2 losses are to Crawford. And to Crawford and Josh Taylor before he lost to Ramirez. He's only lost against the toughest of the tough. So, look, I expect a really good fight. I think it's a 50-50, 51-49 kind of fight. I think it could go either way. I don't see either of them dominating the other, and I think it's probably going to end in a unanimous decision that is going to warrant a rematch, and people are going to be asking for 2 fights.
Okay.
That's where I am right now.
All right. I got you. Yeah, Ramirez, 100%. Okay, that's number 1. All right. Ramirez is going to beat the shit out of Josh. I'm just telling you guys right now. Okay, I'm just telling you right now. Okay, the best fighter out of Scotland is Josh Taylor. Props to him. Okay, but Ramirez is going to beat his ass.
That sounded like a dig at Scotland, D-style. I'm just saying.
Okay, cool. But no. I mean, hey, he's the best. He's the best in the UK. How about that? The best fighter out of the UK.
And he's gonna beat the brakes off of Roddy Piper.
He's better than Fury. He's better than Fury. He's pound for pound UK. I'll give him that. Okay, he's better than all those.
Slow down.
Right? That's all I'm saying. But check it out, though.
You're just discriminating against Taylor because he wears a dress half the time to the ring. A dress they call a kill.
So check it out. The UK bias is coming out.
Let's just be real.
Roddy Piper's going down. All right, Roddy Piper's going down.
But check it out. My favorite is Ramirez, and the best is Ramirez. Okay, Ramirez, that guy. Okay, shout out to Timothy Bradley. All right, it's Ramirez. All right, Beeb. Who's your favorite 140-pounder in the world? And who is the best 140-pounder in the world? And I'm sorry to give you this news. Tyson Fury cannot make 140 pounds, so you cannot say that. Man, you can't make that weight. Right, just saying. Go ahead.
I'm going to say Regis Prograis. I think he's the most talented fighter in that division.
That's your best, okay? All right.
And I think he's my favorite, and he's the best because I love the way he fights. I think he's a slick southpaw, but he also has some power. He's a great finisher.
Good fighter.
He's a great finisher. I actually thought that he beat Josh Taylor. It was a razor close fight. I had him winning the fight 7 rounds to 5. I'm going to say if the fight wasn't in the UK, he may have gotten the decision. It was a close majority decision loss for him. I thought he won the fight. I would have loved to have seen a rematch in that fight, but of course we didn't get that. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Prograis.
We've got 206 on the line, D-Style.
Go ahead.
Got area code 206. Go ahead, 206.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Loud and clear.
It was good. This is Big Brian.
What's going on, Big Brian?
What's up, man?
Talk to us. Go ahead.
It was good. Good. Funky was good. Style. Good. Was good whole life. Are you guys going to the Bruce Lee conversation, or are you guys still stuck on the 140 conversation?
We're talking 140 right now, but hey, it's just ask us if you want to ask about Bruce Lee. Go ahead, or you have a statement, whatever you want to say. Go ahead.
All right. So yeah, I got a question. In particular, D-Style, since I saw what you were saying yesterday, like
my thing is, are you saying that like there's no like you're? I guess what I'm trying to ask or trying to understand is like, are you trying to undermine or that man's legacy or like
What legacy? He was an actor.
No, well, how about this? Let's just make it
How
like.
dare you, Joe?
Hey, Brian,
He doesn't have a legacy.
Time out. Really quick, Brian. Just how about this? I'm going to let you know what I feel about it. But what do you feel? Tell us what you think about Bruce Lee.
Well, look, I'm not the type of dude to over exaggerate his accomplishments or what he's done, but at the end of the day, he is one of the more influential martial artists, since in the 20th century.
Okay.
I mean, his philosophy of being an all-around fighter, going to different areas and training in different disciplines such as judo, tai chi, and other different forms, whether it be traditional or whether it be, what we know today. I mean, his philosophy, of, not a boxer, not a judo guy, not a wrestler being a top guy, but one that can adapt to all styles. I mean, that kind of ideology, especially me being an MMA guy, what I'm saying? That's something that, we do take note of, and we do, take, we take to heart, because that's what guys do to get better, right?
Right.
So I'm not going to say that he's the one that started the ideology of mixed martial arts, but I do think that he's very influential to guys of today. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that the man, Bruce Lee, I'm not going to overrate him, because he has went to other countries like Thailand, and fought in their particular discipline, and he got his ass whooped a couple times.
Okay.
I'm not, like I said, I'm not overrating him. I'm not doing none of that, but I wouldn't just chalk him up as a movie star. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
he
here's what we're gonna do,
he
brother.
definitely was a movie star.
Big Brian, do me a favor, bro. We're gonna finish the 140 thing really quick, and then we'll get to Bruce Lee, and go ahead and call us then.
All right.
Okay, cool.
Gotcha.
Oh, but I definitely have your comments here. We appreciate the phone call. You guys can call in. If you have your thoughts on 140 pounds, go ahead and give us a quick call. Again, guys, come in. Give us your thoughts. You know what I mean? Because, we want to get as many people as possible. D, talk to me. Who's the best 140-pounder in the world, and who's your favorite?
Every time I come on this show, I like Joe more and more and more. Let me tell you this, man. I'll tell you this. When they were going through this tournament, right? And no disrespect to Ramirez, but he won me over. I will say this, because I had Regis Prograis and Josh Taylor like 1A, 1B, and I had Hooker and Ramirez under them, right? And so, as Ramirez kept fighting, I was like, man, he's a lot better than I thought he was. So I give him credit for that, because I underestimated Ramirez. But at the same time, bro, that fight with Josh Taylor and Regis Prograis, I'm like right there where Joe is. I'm not saying that I feel like Regis Prograis run or he got robbed, but I'm like right there with Joe. If it was in the States, I think Prograis get it. If it's over there in the UK, Josh got it. I can't argue with Josh winning that fight. But Regis is my favorite guy. He is my favorite. Who do I think the best? This is where Joe and I we're a little bit apart. I would have to give that to Josh, because he beat Regis. So I would have to say Josh is the best because he beat him. You know what I mean? And it wasn't like no Tim Bradley Pacquiao robbery. It was a really close fight, and I don't mind the decision going to Josh. Right? I could see him getting the decision. So,
Of course,
you
the
know,
people
so he
picking
beat
Josh
him.
Taylor, not their heads, of course. But go ahead.
Right. I mean, because you got three judges, right? So if you got three judges and I see it one way, then the other two judges could have seen it another way, right? And then the same thing with Joe's opinion on it. So I think that he beat him fair. You know, the right man won the fight. And I cannot say that the guy that I like, even though he's my favorite, is the best when he was beaten by Josh, when I thought they were so close anyway. And I think that fight warrants a rematch, right?
Okay.
So yeah, I think Taylor wins. And Regis is my favorite guy. I think he's my favorite guy.
All right. I want to start. I want to start with this one, guys. The dark horse of the division. The guy being over. I'm going to surprise some people with the dark horse of the division.
Me too.
I'm telling you right now. I don't know, man. I think it's somebody to keep an eye out for. I think
know
he's
I'm gonna
being
surprise
overlooked.
people.
I don't know. People are gonna gasp. Adrian Broner. He's back. Whoa. Don't laugh. He's in. I'm getting reports. My sources tell me he's in shape. He's focused and he's ready. Now, I'm not saying he's, like, don't get me wrong, but he couldn't, he could have one more good fight in him. He couldn't come back and beat him Mario Barrios and get a belt. He would come back and do some damage.
Regis.
He might be Regis.
Oh, D-Sal, that was the funniest thing you've said ever.
Don't overlook Adrian Broner. You can laugh.
Is this a spoof?
Okay, you're laughing now.
Is this a spoof?
If Adrian Broner knocks out your favorite fighter, I ain't gonna be laughing. You know why? It's not gonna be meant. Left hook.
He couldn't knock out Paulie Malignaggi.
Don't overlook Adrian Broner. Don't count him out yet. Okay, I'm just saying. Let's give him one more shot. I'm not saying he's the best. I'm not saying he's my favorite. I'm saying he's a dark horse. He's that guy to look out for, and he could get in the mix out of nowhere, and he can get an upset win. It's possible. I'm just saying I'm going to go with Adrian Broner. I want to know who's with me in the chat. Let me know. All right?
I think you're flying solo on this one, man. I think you're flying solo.
Man, no need to fly solo here, okay?
Is this candid camera? Is this candid camera? This is candid camera.
Let me tell you something. Now, who's the dark horse of the division? The line is open, guys. Just, if you want to talk about that, if you want to talk about the Bruce Lee thing, call us when we're there. 408, talk to us. Dark horse, you already said it, but say it again.
Wow, that's actually a really good pick. And I say that because, there's a lot of unanswered questions for Adrian Broner. But I wouldn't have picked him, but it's not a bad pick. I think it's Regis Prograis because that fight with Taylor was so close that it does not only merit a rematch, but it could have gone the other way depending on who was judging that fight, right? So he could easily be in the conversation fighting Ramirez. He may be number 2 in my eyes in the world at 140. But on any given day, Ivan Baranchyk and Jose Zepeda are lurking back there in the top 5, and they could put a sensational fight together with any of these gentlemen.
Okay. Beeb, who's a dark horse of this division? 140 pounds.
Victor Postal. Everyone's writing Victor Postal off. He gave Josh Taylor and Ramirez hell. Right? On any given night, he can probably beat anyone if they're that much off their game, and he's at his best. He can squeak out a decision. You can make an argument that he may have beaten Ramirez. That was a razor close fight too.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, Adrian Broner, he's working hard, man. He's working hard over there in Florida. I'm telling you, I'm getting word. Christine is like, no, that's the face anyway. But Christine, who is your dark horse?
Later, but he's not my dark horse. So even though he only has 16 fights,
wow,
I
Christine,
would put him against the top dogs, and that's Subriel Matias from Puerto Rico.
I love when she comes up with these names.
All right, okay, all right, yeah, I'm familiar with him.
I'll put him against the top dogs. I'm telling you. Even
division.
Crawford talked about him. He was so impressed by him. This kid, watch, you're gonna see him.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Yeah, D. Jefferson, who is the dark horse of 140 pounds? Who's everybody overlooking here that's in the mix? D. Jefferson. can't hear you, bro. Still can't hear you.
Well,
We'll come back to you.
I think he's got something going on.
We'll come back to you, bro. Chief, fuck you. Who's the dark horse in this division?
I want to say this before I say my dark horse. Did you see the look on Christine's face when you said Adrian Broner D-style? See, when you're married like me, that's the face you don't want to see from a woman. All right, it's the face you don't want to see right there. All right.
That means you're sleeping on the couch.
I just think she's
on the couch.
that she didn't think of the name. I think that's what it is. It's like, that one.
That means you're sleeping in the bathtub tonight. When you get that look, you're sleeping in the bathtub.
Well, I'm going to do something like I did when we had this discussion about 122. There's a guy out there who could still fight at 140 if he wanted to, who I think could beat just about any of these guys if he decided to come back down to 140, and that's Mikey Garcia. Wow. If he comes back down to 140, he can mix it up with any of these guys, beat any of these guys.
I like that, G.
But since he's not there,
tonight. I like that.
Yes, I like sleeping in the bed. That's right. And but if I'm going to go with a guy who's actually there right now, I'm going to have to agree with my man Joe Habib and say Postal, man. He's a tough out for anybody, man. Only the best guys at 140 have beat him, and they've all been pretty much close fights except for the Crawford fight. You know,
Postal can't win the big one, guys. He can't win the big one.
Neither can Broner.
He's a 4-division champion. What do you mean?
Neither could the Bills, D-style.
Ouch!
Wow, that was a low blow.
That was like whoa, we're just playing around here. You know?
Do you want to take a timeout, D-Style?
No, it's not good. Look, at the end of the day,
I grew up. Look, I'm an '80s baby. Grew up in the '90s. I remember the 4 straight AFC championships.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you guys something before we continue. Okay, a lot of teams have won the Super Bowl. Only one team has gone to 4 straight Super Bowls. I rest my case. One's more difficult than the other, right? If not, more people would have done it, right? Well, what does that mean? But anyway,
my team beat your team twice.
like you weren't even born when they won those Super Bowls. Like, you know what I mean? Like, anyway,
there you go.
But take it out.
Take it easy.
Oh, T. Jefferson.
Yeah.
Dark horse.
This one, like I said, is a little off the rails, but dark horse, Teofimo Lopez, the takeover, fam. I feel like he's gonna come up to 140 and shock the world. Like, no, I see it in the kid, bro. I think he's gonna come up to 140. We know he's coming, right? That's my dark horse right there. That's my guy anyway, but that's my dark horse. Teofimo Lopez.
I don't think he's coming up. I don't think he's coming up anytime soon. I know his people. I know his nutritionist. He's good. He's good. He's gonna stay there for a minute.
How many fights you think? How many fights you think, Christine?
5.
I'm gonna say
5,
2, Christine.
5.
I think he's done in 2 fights, Christine.
You think so?
Christine, I talked to.
There goes that look.
I talked to Junior Lopez. I talked to Junior Lopez here and there, right? And he said 2 tops. He says 2 tops.
So you know the inside. Okay.
Yeah. I talked to him. I talked to Bill Haney and Lopez actually often, but the Junior says
the
2
look.
tops.
Well, we'll see. How about that?
I don't think he's gonna stay. I think 2's tops.
But hold up, really quick. Did I go to you, Milcar?
No, you have not gone to me.
All right, well, who's your dark horse?
And usually what happens is when I go last, I either have to agree with someone, which I don't want to do in this case. Especially
look, I go last most of the time.
Okay? I hate going last.
Letting the whole panel know D-Style always goes last.
Take my thunder, but that's fine. I'll give you 2 names. Because I've been impressed since he's gone up to 140, especially since his last fight. I was at the Barclays Center when Tank Davis absolutely destroyed him at 135. And I'm speaking about Pedraza. All right, I think he's doing pretty well at 140 right now. But the name that I'd like people to look at is actually Shakram Giasov. He's a Uzbek. He's a former amateur world champion. He's an Olympic bronze medalist. I believe he's like 10 wins, 8 KOs. And I wasn't necessarily sold on him until I saw what he did to Darlis Perez, who's actually or Perez, I should say, who's actually a competent, a guy who's taken a lot of people into deep waters. So that's my guy. Look him up, Shakram Giasov. That's going to be my dark horse at 140.
He's trying to outdo Christine. That's what that is. Like you know
Hey,
what?
you gotta watch Aiba, D-Sal. You gotta watch Aiba, at least the World Championships.
McCar's like, yo, I'm ready. All right. Best fight. Now here's a caveat, guys. Okay, we all know at the moment the best fight is Ramirez Hader because it's undisputed. Okay, we know that. So don't give me that one. But now, best fight could be whatever you guys, whether it's significance, excitement, whatever it is, you choose. Go ahead, D. Give us the best fight to make at 140 pounds.
Oh, okay, at 140. Okay, I thought you was talking about. All right.
No, 140.
The best fight right now, to me, is the rematch with Josh Taylor and Regis Program.
Oh, you stole it!
I'm sorry, bro. I think that's the best fight. I ain't even gonna lie. I might have a little bias with that, but I think that rematch is, man. I gotta see that fight again. I have to.
Okay. All right. That's good. Hey, by the way, Mario Barrios, all roads to Undisputed lead to Mario Barrios.
Mario Barrios.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, how are you guys going to call dude Undisputed when Mario Barrios has a belt? What was that, Christine?
No, I want to talk about him. So is he the real deal?
I think he could be. I think he's still got some learning to do. But
Well, he's more of the real deal. He's more of a real deal than Bruce Lee.
Oh, but Christine,
Low blow.
give us the best fight. Best fight at 140.
Okay, the matchup. Okay, then I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna bring up AB and Regis.
No.
I want to see that. I want to see that.
That's drama right there.
Especially since AB was dissing Regis.
No.
I want to see that.
No.
Why not? Hey, Beeb. Okay, you go next, Beeb. Since you know you're like, what, give me a better fight than Beeb. Go ahead.
D stole it from me, but I was going to say the same thing.
Beeb. You've been watching boxing your whole life. You know 140 pounds. You give us a good matchup. Come on.
I'm agreeing with D. I like Progray's Josh Taylor rematch.
Okay.
I thought that should have been an immediate rematch. I loved that fight.
Good fight, absolutely. Fight of the year candidate. Go ahead, 408. Talk to us. Best matchup for you, 140.
I'm feeling a rematch too, and I'd like to see a trilogy someday. But it's going to be Zepeda and Baranchek again.
Damn it!
Now, that was conclusively the best fight of 2020. So I'd like to see them do it again.
Dave, that's a good one, Dave.
All right. Hey, talk to us, Chief Funky. I know you got all mad and they stole it from me, and you know what I mean. These stuff always goes last in these panels. I always have something to say. All right, but go ahead, Chief Funky.
I'll let this one slide because my boy 408 is from NorCal like me. So, but how could you guys not want to see that fight again, man? If they could just be half of what that was, that would be incredible. Because that fight was just out of this world, man. I mean, I was sending that fight to everybody. I was like, man, you got to watch this. I don't give a damn if you don't like boxing or not. And they all loved it. Great fight. And like I said, if they could just do half of what they did, it'd be incredible.
Okay. All right. Milcar. Doctor, best fight, 140.
I don't really think you could go wrong with anything involving Rantis Barthelemy. So just put him against anybody. I don't know. Pablo Cesar Cano, Louis Ritson, Mario Barrios. That sign me up for that. In all seriousness, I think the fight I want to see, and I don't know why anyone just didn't mention it, it's the one that's most obvious. It's Josh Taylor Ramirez, man. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Well, yeah. But remember, I said besides that one.
Oh, okay.
We all know that's the best one now.
You know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see a rematch between Pedraza and Zepeda, man. I'd like to see that.
Okay.
I'd like to see if Zepeda
here's the top search result.
Can improve.
All right. Okay, Alexa. Alexa wanted to say something to her. She got a fight.
Googled it. My fault.
Alexa's like, hey.
That was a hell of a fight.
That was.
I'm drinking.
He was looking for that fight.
I don't usually do that. I'm off my game.
Ask her if Bruce Lee's the real deal.
Don't do that right now. Not right now, Alexa.
I'll do that later. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yo, look. Here's a fight for you guys, man. Like, you know what I mean? I go last, and I'm still. But look. Watch. Are you guys ready? The winner of Ramirez Taylor versus Teofimo Lopez for undisputed 140 pounds. There we go. No, oh my God, they stole it from me. They took it. I have no more choices anymore.
I changed my mind. Thank you, D-Style. I changed my mind.
I changed my mind
D-Style
too.
has
But
made
he's not even up here yet, when we're already matching him up against people.
No, I don't care. I'm biased.
Hey, it's not impossible. Top Rank, Junior Lopez has talked about it. Teofimo has talked about it. They've already called out Josh Taylor. They've already called out Ramirez. It's already being talked about. You know what I mean? So it's not that out of the realm.
No, you're right.
I'm just saying, you don't gotta get jealous because I went last and I still blew all you out of the water.
I'm hating.
That's I'm kind of surprised nobody said that. Actually, I was expecting that, but all good fights. But hey, it's a paid up Ranchik rematch. Who doesn't want to see that? By the way, you know what I mean? That's a hell of a fight. So there you go, guys. That's 140 pounds. Feel free to call in. The phone lines are open as we mentioned. Okay, the number's right there in the bottom.
Numbers at the bottom.
Yeah, we'll get you guys in for sure, okay? And now, I just want to address something Jay Desi 4 said. My only thing is this, right? I mean, I get the argument that, when they do the procedures and all that, the hormones, it reduces the bone density and all that. But my only issue is this. Like, you see an outlier, like you're seeing records get shattered. Like, it's not like it's here and there. No, they're shattering, not just shattering long-standing records. That the data doesn't lie. Like, to me, that's significant. You know what I mean? That's how I personally feel about it. That's all. But that's and then the thing with combat sports is people will get hurt. People die in boxing rings. You know what I mean? It's not a game. It's not boxing, in my opinion. It's not an experiment like that. You know what I mean? I don't think we don't want to play with fire like that, in my opinion.
This is gonna sound pretty offensive, but I'm about 6'4", 235, and
you're that heavy.
I think I could lead the WNBA in rebounds if I just boxed out like every WNBA player. Seriously.
Well,
facts.
Honestly, think I could.
We're not going to let you play with the women. Come on. Don't be a bully. Don't be a bully. Don't be a bully.
I'm not saying my
I don't know, man. I don't know. I think some of these WNBA players will
wet.
tuck it on
It's
you.
not, but I could be the Dennis Rodman of the WNBA.
I don't know, man.
You want to be Joanna, man?
I think I could do that.
I want to be Joanna, man.
You would foul out, Amilcar. You would foul out. You'd be out of there.
By the way, you guys want to, call in and, make a quick statement or talk about it, go ahead. Okay, you guys can call in. Guido, what's up? Philly Irish, how's it going? Shoe Shine's in the chat as well. Kind of Local Sport, you could call as well, man. The phone line number is in the bottom. Look, man, really quick around the line, Brandon Marshall. This is not new news, but it's just something interesting. So, former wide receiver of the NFL, Brandon Marshall, makes a statement that he could outclass Wilder. Do you guys believe that he believes what he's saying? Like, do you really believe that? Like that's because we all know he can't mess with Wilder in the ring, but does he actually believe that? Like, do people actually go to boxing rings and train in the gym and actually feel like, hey, you know what? I think I can do this. This is easy and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Christine, let's start with you. Does he actually believe he can beat up?
Yeah, they do actually believe it, because the thing is that they're like, 3 minutes. Yeah, well, I hit the bag 3 minutes. I do mitts for 3 minutes. Yeah, but the bags aren't punching you back. You know what I'm saying? You're not on your feet. You're not moving. I think it's ludicrous. I mean, I don't even want to mention his name, but the internet sensation is like making all this money. It's like
Jake Paul.
Yeah, I don't even want to give him any kind of like clout. But the thing is that people see him and they think, if he can box, I can. I can box anybody, and I can make this money and I can do this and that. The thing is that people are going to get hurt. You know, they think that they can get in there and box and do what boxers do. And this is life or death. I think it's ridiculous for him to say that. Is he a great athlete? He was a football player, 13 years, you know, in the NFL, whatever. That's wonderful. Yep. I don't think that a football player, a basketball player, or whatever can then go to boxing. Do I think that a boxer is going to be as conditioned or even more conditioned in a different sport? Yes, I do. But do I think that somebody can flip from another sport and go to boxing? No, I don't. I think it's ridiculous. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Milcar, talk to us.
Well, look, check those out. Okay. I'm looking for a 4-week training camp, and I want that dude, or I want Jake Paul. I've been boxing about 15 years, but I'll guarantee you a first or second round knockout.
Milcar wants to throw hands. You know
guaranteed.
I will sponsor you. I will sponsor
guaranteed. You. They can come get some of this. They can come get some of that PE teacher power right there. All right.
Oh shit! Hey, that's the Bronx talking.
All right. So at the end of the day, it does look easy. It's not. All right. It's definitely not easy. But Jake Paul could get it because he's 2-0 right now against a video game player and a washed out NBA dunk contest winner.
Yeah.
All right. And this dude that works for the NFL Network is 0-0 against nobody. So I'm officially a YouTuber now. I got a couple, a dozen subs to my new channel. All right. I'm throwing it out there. Right. Let me get some of that smoke. I actually want it.
All right. Okay. G Funky. What do you think, man? What do you think? Brandon Marshall, he wants that smoke, bro. He says he can do it. He can take on Wilder. Does he believe it?
Christine, could you make that face again, please? That's my thoughts right there. Like, give me a break. All right. These guys think they could just put the gloves on and then walk into the ring and do. No, it's not happening. Especially with Deontay Wilder would literally kill this dude with one right hand. He's out of there. Done. He'll never fight again. So just stay in your lane, man. Or if you want to become a professional fighter, just do it the right way. Okay. Work your way up. We'll see what you got. We'll test you along the way, but you ain't going to jump right in with a guy like Wilder. That's just not happening. Not in this planet, not in this life, not ever.
But Chief Funky and Panel, I mean, Wilder's wild and he just flings punches. He's got windmill punches. You know what I mean? You just pop the jab and you can beat him. You know what I mean? I don't know what that is, by the way.
He'd have a chance if Wilder had never hooked up with Mark Breland and just had JD's as his coach. The problem is Wilder's been coached by Mark Breland for a few years now, so just off that, it's a problem. But yeah, if it was just JD's coaching Wilder, he'd have a little bit of a shot. I'm not going to lie.
I think he'd have a shot against Bruce Lee.
Here's what I want to say to you guys. Let me say this before I go to Beeb. Look, here's the reality, guys. Okay, Wilder looks like that against professional boxers. Okay, professional boxers that are trained to fight are making him look like that when he throws wild punches. Fury's making him look like that, making him miss Wild like that. If you get in the ring with Wilder, he's gonna look like the most like pure boxer imaginable. Right? You guys remember the name Arturo Gatti? Now he could box, although he turned more into a brawler later into his career and all that. You know what I mean? You know what happened when they put Arturo Gatti? Well, what is it, like 5'7"? Okay, 150 pounds soaking wet, maybe 160 pounds. You know, when he was retired and no longer fighting, they put him on a show called Joes versus Pros. Okay, and he beat up 3 motherfuckers. He beat them up. Right?
Well,
knocked them down. Not one of them lasted around. Go. What's that, Milcar?
I was just going to say Russ Amber, who's a very experienced and well-known trainer from Canada, who's actually a cut man for a lot of people, including Lomachenko, said that Arturo Gatti's nickname when he was an amateur was the Professor. Because a lot of people don't know Arturo Gatti's actually from Canada. He's from Montreal, which is one of the best fight towns in the world, to be honest. And as but it's a little bit more than all right. But
I know.
you know, you got Baturvia, you got fucking Pascal, you've got
they outsource.
you got a hell of a lot of guys out of Montreal, more than actually are from New York, which is where I live.
A lot of imports.
Anyways,
a lot of imports.
A lot of dudes, Adonis Stevenson, I could go on and on and on. Anyways, the point is, he said that Gotti's nickname when he was an amateur was the professor, but then he adopted that kind of a brawling style. So yeah,
absolutely. But here's the point
I
I'm trying to make.
agree with you, D-Style.
The point I'm trying to make is, okay, if you talk to and I get all that, but if you talk to a boxing fan, okay, today, they will tell you, oh, Arturo, he was a rock'em, sock'em type of guy and all this, right?
He definitely
Little
was.
skill. Look at what Mayweather did to him. Look at what De La Hoya did to him. Yeah, that's because Mayweather and De La Hoya are phenomenal boxers. They were high-level boxers. That's why they made it look easy against Arturo Gatti. Arturo Gatti was slipping punches. Okay, they did not lay a glove on him. They did not last more than a minute in the ring with him. 3 of them, back to back to back. What do you think a 6'8" Deontay Wilder is going to do to this dude? All right, seriously. But Beeb, does he believe it though? Like we all know he can't beat him.
No, I think a lot of times these comments get made for shock value because he knows it's never going to happen. So he can say these comments and not have to worry about actually backing them up. This is just basically clout chasing, trying to get some, get his name out there in the headlines, and that's what he's looking for. He's looking for a headline. He's looking for a shock value type comment. That's all. I don't think
we have to have a round. We have to have a roundtable discussion about the Canadians, man. It's all they're outsourcing. You know what I mean? That's all it is. Like they're getting Russians and people. I'm just saying, but
they got their papers. Though they got their papers.
How many Canadian-born dudes are out there like that are ready to whoop some ass?
Well, yeah,
Lennox Lewis was born in Canada.
No, he wasn't. He's from England.
How can you guys talk about guys from Canada and leave out the best there is,
Lennox
the best
Lewis
there was, and the best there ever will be? All right,
he won the gold for Canada, but he immigrated there when he was like 13.
You sure?
The fact is, I don't give a fuck if people immigrate there or not. Montreal is like a top 3 fight town in North America, and I'm including like Mexico City when I say that.
Yeah.
In terms of world champions that have come through that city, that place is top.
I got you. All right.
Tops. I'm just letting you know.
Isn't Lennox Lewis Jamaican?
Jamaican, born in England, raised in Canada, refused to claim a national identity when he was a pro. There's a really good documentary on him, Joe. Check it out.
Okay.
It was on the Epix channel. It came out last year.
Does he have dual citizenship?
No, I don't know. Let's move on. D, talk to us. Does Brandon Marshall, do you think he believes this? You think he's delusional enough to believe this?
Now, I watch a lot of football. I used to do it on my channel. It just got too hectic, right? Brandon Marshall is a few cards short of a full deck, fam. He was like that in football. Really, he got a few little screws up there. So I actually believe he does think that. One thing you got to think about, right, is a lot of athletes in cross sports. You've seen this, like, if you go back in time, they disrespect other athletes. For some reason, they feel that their sport is harder, right? And they have this false illusion that they can go compete easily in someone else's sport, right? Right. It is a competitive nature. And I don't think that it's like us where it's a thing where it's just disrespectful. They feel that their sport is more physical or superior to another sport. So I think that this idiot does believe he could go in there and beat Wilder. But I called him an idiot because he's going to get knocked out, man. Let's be honest. Guys like Artur Spilka, Chris Arreola, they'll beat up Brandon Marshall, beat the hell out of him. And these guys couldn't beat Wilder. Luis Ortiz, they'll beat the shit out of Marshall. So I just don't think that he's thinking straight. One thing about Deontay Wilder, you hear people call him a one-trick pony. Well, he's like David Blaine with that one trick. He's going to find a way to get that right hand in. And he's got that one trick down pat. And Brandon Marshall, you ain't Fury. And Fury didn't even stay away from it in the first fight. So, he'll sleep that guy, bro. He'll literally sleep that guy.
First round.
Wilder's jab's gonna look like a beauty if he boxes like I mean, it's. I'm just saying. 408. Does he believe it?
Yeah, I think he definitely believes it. I think he alleges he's been boxing for 30 years, yet I can find no evidence of his amateur background. He's working with Evander Holyfield. Then he sees all this celebrity boxing going on with these YouTubers cashing in, fighting real fighters and whatnot, and getting the Mayweather fights. Not to mention how much success people who've played professional football, like Brendan Schaub, had a transitional career into MMA. Dominic Brazil was a Division I college football quarterback. He's got it in his head that he's elite enough of an athlete to take on Deontay Wilder. I, for one, would like to see Deontay Wilder get a confidence boost right now and knock out somebody like that. I would like to see that. I'd like to see him knock out the guy. And I wouldn't be upset if he took that fight. I think it'd be entertaining. But again, it's not good for boxing that we're seeing a lot of this cross-transitional entertainment stuff. But, I mean, this guy probably deserves to be knocked out.
You know what? I have a different take. So while, yes, it is insulting to the sport that other athletes think, oh, it's a piece of cake, I can go do it. Well, while I understand that, shout out, man, shout out. It's still giving the sport attention, though. You know,
Sure.
Like it's still like I don't think it's like that big. Like I think it's a good thing actually. Like I'm not even mad at. I know Christina doesn't want to hear about it, but I'm not even that mad at Jake Paul. You know, Jake Paul's he's beating up MMA fighters for us. You know what I mean? These MMA fighters are calling out legitimate boxers. You know, how about let our little homie go beat you up over there, okay? Go
I want some of that Jake Paul money. Right? Retire early.
I'll take it.
Go.
I wouldn't be mad at
when he's UFC guys. You're like, I want to box. Like, okay, you know, let our little homie Jake Paul take care of you. Go over there, okay?
And I hope Marshall looks better on the bag than that guy Askren because he looks pretty bad on the bag.
Askren is horrible, bro.
Some people should not post videos.
Yeah, Ben Askren.
That was the best shot, by the way. That was the best one. Like, you know,
but Ben Askren's a wrestler that adapted to striking. Just not boxing. He's a wrestler that adapted to striking, and striking in UFC or mixed, it's not boxing, fam. Like people get it twisted. That's all Ben Askren is. He's a wrestler that adapted to striking.
That's how he fights. That's how he throws his hands. Like, what, dude, stop, please. Ben Askren, stop. The dude said, I used to box all the time as a kid. Like, what?
He did. He used to box. He used to box oranges.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. He said, I used to box with my friends all the time just for fun.
He used to work for UPS. He used to box a lot of packages. Leave him alone. Give him a break.
Yep.
Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. Now, look, man, if Jake Paul loses to him, my God, that's going to be glorious. Let's start right now. Right?
I just want to remind people that phone lines are open 347-460-1773. You're free to call in.
Yeah, we're about to get in on it, guys. We're about to get in on it. But you guys can call about Bruce Lee now, by the way. Okay?
Hey, D-Style, you know what? Jake Paul could lose to him because he's defensively irresponsible. And although Ben Askren looked, terrible on the back, he does know how to throw a punch and hurt a guy because he's still a professional fighter.
Yeah,
and Jake Paul's
a
goddamn YouTuber. So he could get clipped. He could get clipped and he could get slapped.
Who would win, Stephen A. Smith or Joe Habib in a boxing fight? What do you guys got?
Joe Habib would beat the hell out of Stephen A. Smith.
All right, yeah, that's right.
Stephen A's offering a big target with that forehead and that receding hairline. Can you go back to that for a second, please? That's a big target right there.
Let's pull it up.
Joe Habib. Woof.
Bro,
let it go. Let it go.
Peppered with Joe Habib jabs right there, Mr. Peanut Head.
That's going to be LeBron James with that, like, when he's about to retire. You know what I mean? Like, let it go.
My 20-year-old niece would beat the hell out of Stephen A. Did you see his punches that he was throwing, man?
I wanted to see somebody
that Bruce Lee six-pack, no homo.
That's right. That's right.
That could
347.
withstand a hell of a lot of body shots right there.
What looks better, Bruce Lee's six pack or Stephen A's hairline?
Hey guys, make sure you could call in, and let me give the number, guys, really quick. Go ahead and call in. The lines are open. All right, 347-460-1773. All right, Guido, you could call in. Nando, you could call in. 92AKU, you could call in. All right, but here's the deal. Bruce Lee. Oh, like that guy. Let me tell you something. Let me cook for a little bit, guys. Hold on. All right?
Oh, boy.
Uh-oh.
Look, here's why I came up with this. First of all, we got people out here that talk about how Asian fighters can't fight. Oh, these Asian guys. Anyway, what has he done? Anyway, what do you mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you bring up anyway, and they're like, what? Anyway? You know? Anyway, moving on. Like, you know, like it's just that's what you hear. Oh, what has he done? Who has he fought? You can look up his fights. They're not like in a secret vault somewhere. Okay, they're not in some sacred place or something. You can literally look up his fights on YouTube. You can watch Inoue fight. You can look up the guys he fought. You can go to BoxRec. There's records of it. There was witnesses. There was an arena full of people. There was people there that witnessed it. But no, I got to keep hearing, anyway, what's he done? And to make matters worse, we still have boxing channels out here till this day saying, Manny Pacquiao, ain't no way that guy could have moved up so many weight classes and done all those great things. He had to be on some. He had, whether he was or he wasn't is irrelevant, but the fact that they just don't believe it. You know what I mean? No matter what, he was on a power pallets. Ain't no way he could have done this, done that. What do you mean he moved up so many weight classes? What do you mean he beat a Margarito? Nah, something was up with that. No way can any human being possibly do what Manny Pacquiao did. But then at the same time, they got a Bruce Lee poster in the back, right? And other videos, they're talking about how Bruce Lee could beat up Brock Lesnar. Oh, Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee can beat up the current heavyweight champion if he was still alive. If Bruce Lee has faster hands than Meldrick Taylor, he has faster hands than Sugar Ray Leonard. If Bruce Lee was a boxer, he would have dominated. If Bruce Lee was all these things, Bruce Lee. He's the real deal. We have channels dedicated to Bruce Lee being the real deal.
Was the real deal.
So let's open up the panel. First of all, Christine, start us off with this one.
I just have to say, Sylvester Stallone. You know, it's like he was the reason why I got into boxing. But was he the real deal? No, he wasn't. You know.
Whoa, Christina.
What do you mean?
Of course, he was the real deal.
What do you mean? I have the picture of him. Look right here.
Sorry, guys. I hate to break it.
Got knocked out by Spider Rico. What are you talking about?
What?
Look, Bruce Lee made 30 movies. He has there's one clip out there of him actually. I don't know if they were sparring, fighting, whatever. I mean, I understand he looked beautiful when he was doing it. He looked amazing, whatever. But it's Hollywood, guys. Come on.
No.
Okay.
There's legit footage of Bruce Lee beating up some really bad mofos.
Send it to me.
Where can I find this footage?
O'Hara.
Well, O'Hara.
O'Hara, yeah.
O'Hara's a legitimate dude, man.
You got a screen share?
O'Hara would fuck up most of these dudes right now. 168 plus.
Chief Funk, you talk to us.
Was he the real deal? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think he could definitely whoop some ass if they put him in a tournament. Do I think that he would beat these guys today, or be undefeated and the way that a lot of people talk about him? I mean, probably not.
Okay, but rewind. A tournament against who? Like whoop some ass against who?
Against other martial artists. That's who.
Chuck Norris. Chuck
He
Norris.
took on Mr. Han with the claws, bro. In the
Who?
Yeah, Mr. Han.
The instructor at the karate school over here? Like who? Like what do you mean to get some martial artists?
Chuck Norris would dismantle him.
Yes, he would. He would.
We'll never know. I think he could. I think he could hang. Honestly, I think he could hang. I don't see why.
It's a rumor that he and Chuck sparred and he beat Chuck.
That's not.
Well, first, Chief Funky,
that's
based on what, Chief Funky? Based on what do you know he could hang?
Based on eyewitness accounts from other martial artists who've been in tournaments, who've done these things, man. You named a couple. Chuck Norris. I forget the guy's name who played O'Hara in Enter the Dragon, but he's a real martial artist.
Bob Hall.
Olo has said it. Bob Wall, yeah, him. Jim Kelly, who was in Enter the Dragon.
He
They
beat
all
up
said
two
it, man.
white boys in Seattle for about like really? That's his credentials, and we don't even know that's true. By the way,
That's true. Definitely true.
Why do I have to keep hearing all these like? If Bruce Lee was such the real deal, why do we have all these exaggerated stories about him? Right?
Yes.
That him being able to do feats that nobody could do, and then with no proof of it, no film. Bruce Lee lived in the time of film. They could have filmed his feats. They could have filmed his fights.
He's an actor.
Absolute blasphemy.
Go ahead, Chief Funky, and then Beep go after Chief Funky.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just wanted to respond to that. If there's one thing that I've learned over the years and growing up now that I'm almost 40 years old, and I will watch. I love the mafia movies, but now that a lot of these guys who are actually in the mob, they look at these movies and they say, yeah, some of this stuff is true, but most of the time it's exaggerated because it's Hollywood, man. And stories always get exaggerated as years go by. So I really think that's what rubs people the wrong way. When you hear the stories about Bruce Lee.
So let's do this. Let's take the caller, and Beeb, I'll let you respond to the caller. Go ahead.
Area code 206, you're on the line. Yeah, area code 206. Go ahead.
Yeah, so just real quick, thanks for allowing me to call in, y'all. So, come on. Where's the Bruce Lee hate coming from? I just want to understand that.
There's no hate from me. I think he's legit. In fact, they've been talking about no fight footage. I've got plenty of fight footage queued up. So I'm just waiting for D-Style to let me know it's my turn.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, right? Look, it's like this. Like I said before, when I called him earlier, nobody's over-exaggerating the man of being some superhuman fighting machine or something like that. Nobody's saying that. But, especially in like the person put in the chat, he's very influential up here in Seattle in terms of martial artists. Now, martial arts, look, it's like this. Boxing is a martial art, sword fighting, different forms of combat is martial art, all right? We understand that he's not the originator or progenitor of martial arts. Nobody's saying nothing like that. Nobody's saying that Bruce Lee can beat up everybody or beat up Brock Lesnar.
He had no involvement.
Mike Tyson.
I'm saying that.
Can I say something really quick, Brian? I'll let you continue. He had no involvement in MMA whatsoever. None. That is a marketing scheme that the UFC propped up.
No, it's not D-Style. No, it's not.
I disagree with D-Style as well.
Man, this is terrible.
Wait.
You know, Valetudo already existed in the early 1900s before Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee's daddy was in his grandfather's nutsacks.
Chuck Norris was a black belt in judo, jiu-jitsu, and taekwondo. So he had
and Bruce Lee fucked him up on film. Joe.
Hold on. Brian. Go ahead, Brian. Go ahead.
Look, wait a second. Okay. Look. Hey, no disrespect to Chuck Norris and all that other stuff, but look, listen. What made Bruce Lee special, and I'm not coming from any of the modern day rhetoric,
Special?
And look, he is influential. Look, like I think somebody else referenced. I mean, look. Did those Rocky films inspire people to go into boxing? Yes, of course. but you know what I'm saying, to put him in the same category as put Bruce Lee in the same category as someone like Sylvester Stallone, who has no fighting experience at all.
I know. Stallone should be way above Bruce Lee.
Stallone, Rocky was fake. Bruce Lee was real.
Bruce Lee was the real deal.
It's just real.
Bruce Lee.
Stallone made.
By the way, to the person in the chat, Chuck Norris was the full contact world champion. Okay, that's
Okay,
number one.
Listen.
And Bruce Lee Bruce Lee beat him on film.
Go ahead, D.
Outside of the movies, those guys used to actually train together, and they had sparring sessions together.
Chuck Norris never sparred Bruce Lee. They asked him. They asked him. I saw the interview.
Him up on film. That's all that matters.
I'll pull
the interview. I'll send it to you. I'll send you a video when he's being.
I got video lined up right now.
Hold on,
Joe. I got a couple of articles now. I'm gonna send you.
Well, I got a video. Okay.
I've got
Chuck
video.
Norris.
Guys.
Chuck Norris was asked, "Did you ever spar Bruce Lee?" He said, "No, we just worked out." Then you know what? Then the guy asked him again. He goes, "Who would win in a real fight?" And Chuck Norris laughed. He goes, "Well, I was a real fighter. He was just
Translation.
an actor." And he said Bruce was good. You know, I don't want to say anything bad about Bruce. So
go ahead and make your point.
That's on video.
Hey guys, yo, one at a time, guys. Go ahead, D.
I got it. I want to see the video, and Joe, I'm gonna send you the article too. A matter of fact, it's a few articles. I'll dig them up where Chuck Norris was being interviewed, and he said that they trained and sparred, not like an actual fight. Because the guy, okay, hold on, Joe. I'm just telling you what. Listen, fam.
Never sparred.
Okay, Joe, hold on. Just let me tell you what I'm not. This is not coming from D, fam. This is just coming from some things that I've read.
No, I'm just telling you, never sparred him. They never sparred.
Okay, this again. We got two different reports here, Joe. That's all I'm saying. And you know, like if you put something in quotes, right, they can be sued for slander. So I don't know if like
then boxing scene's got to be put out of business because they put many fake stories out.
Hey! If it's in quotes,
watch out, Carpenter. They're coming for you, bro.
Okay, but anyone can put anything in quotes and say a source.
Boxing even will be run out of YouTube.
No, not if they say like Chuck said, they can be sued, dog. Seriously, if they put it in quotes and say Chuck said, they can be sued.
It doesn't matter. People lie all the time.
Let's watch. Hold on. Is historian Brian still on the line?
Yeah, I'm still on the line.
Finish your point, brother. What do you want to say?
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. Okay, look, it's like this. Like I said, look, the man, look, in a street fight, yes, he did whoop two boys up here in Seattle, you know, back in his day. The man, look, he was very inspirational. Was he the best fighter of all time? No. Was he the best martial artist of all time? No. But he did inspire a lot of people for MMA. You know what I'm saying? He did. You know, I'm inspired by him. Shit, I do. You know, being as a boxer and as an MMA guy.
Can I ask you a question?
Look,
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
You said Bruce Lee inspired a lot of people to do MMA. Why wasn't MMA all over the place before the UFC in '93?
Well, I mean, we understand that those fights down in Brazil, Vale Tudo, and the different underground fights that was going on, you know, full contact martial arts fights that was going on, and you know, we understand that.
Fight has been around for years.
The Kumite, bro.
Let me say this, Brian.
There's also shoot.
Fight's been around for ages.
Hey, Brian, hold on, guys. Hey, Brian, I'm gonna say something, Brian. I'm gonna let you finish. I'm gonna let you give your final thoughts, but let me say this, Brian. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Look.
When they were doing Vale Tudo in Brazil, okay, Bruce Lee's dad was still in his dad's nutsacks.
That's not true.
What you trying to say, man? What you trying to say?
Bruce Lee didn't even exist when they were already doing MMA. How did he influence people to do MMA?
Brazilian
and then the dude died. No, but hold on. The guy died. He dies, right? And I kind of keep hearing, but he influenced a generation to do MMA. But I didn't see any MMA after he died.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu started because Japanese people, judokas, immigrated to Brazil and started that movement. But a lot of people don't know this, but Brazil has the largest population of Japanese people outside of Japan. Don't believe me? Look at their Don't believe me? Look at their national baseball team. It's all Japanese people, Japanese Brazilians. They're the ones.
That's correct.
They're the ones who went to Brazil and started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But what D-Sal's not letting you know is that I actually have real footage of him fucking people up. Look at this.
Ohara.
Okay? This is Bruce Lee here at his finest. Ohara was a real bad motherfucker. And look at his timing here. Look at you. Oh!
Come on.
Man.
You see that? Come on, man.
Yeah, I don't want to copyright, so that's why.
People can't fuck with that timing, man. There's no amount of
Brian
and counter punching that could deal with that Bruce Lee quick timing, man. I'm just letting
Brian,
you know.
You're a big Maldrick Taylor fan. Who had faster hands, Bruce Lee or Maldrick Taylor?
Shoot. With the gloves or without the gloves?
Dude, who had faster hands, bro? Come on.
Maldrick Taylor. Come on, Maldrick Taylor.
Yeah. Bro, it's obviously Bruce Lee, man. Come on.
Jesus Christ. Hey, thanks a lot.
Like I said, look. All I'm saying with Bruce Lee is that look, just in the modern sense, yes, he inspired guys to be more than just one style. He did.
I did it,
you know what I'm saying?
They've been doing multiple styles. Jack Dempsey did jiu-jitsu when he was a world boxer.
Meldrick Taylor.
I know.
Meldrick Taylor never had to deal with Mr. Han in the mirror room with the claw fist, man. Come on now.
Listen,
man. Go ahead, Big Brian.
I just want to say this, just one last thing. Look, man. All these combat sports, all these martial arts, man, yes, there were other people that did cross-train, from a early standpoint. And we understand about the going back to ancient Greece about pancrase and whatnot and pugilism and whatnot. We understand all that. I study this stuff. But all I'm saying is from the modern era that we live in now was inspired from that man to be more than just one particular style. You know what I'm saying? Even, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying it from that standpoint, from a consensus standpoint from MMA fighters, not just MMA fighters, but martial arts in general, no matter what discipline they come from. That's all. That's it. And no exaggeration, I just think that there should be at least a certain level of respect and reverence to the guy. But he's not the only guy. I'll just say that.
I got you, man. Hey, Brian, thanks so much for calling in, brother.
I appreciate it, man. Appreciate y'all having me on.
Thank you, Brian.
For the record, D-Style, I happen to agree with the caller, Brian, on mostly everything he said.
What?
I do.
Break it down for us.
All right, well, okay. Bruce Lee, his significance to people here in the Bay Area is in particular with the history of San Francisco, Chinatown, and Oakland. And the caller mentioned he was from Seattle. San Francisco and Oakland fought to build a statue for him, and they lost out to the city of Seattle because Bruce Lee came back from Hong Kong to San Francisco, and legend has it he got into it with the elders in the community because he wanted to build his school that was teaching to non-whites. He wanted to advance the martial arts in his own style. But mostly the caller said that the influence he had on modern day generations of MMA, right? Mm-hmm. I want to say this. There's a gentleman, an actor by the name of Leo Fong, who was an amateur boxer who won Golden Gloves, that was very close friends with Bruce Lee training partners. Now, he credits himself for introducing Bruce Lee to boxing and how much the sport of boxing had influence on his book that he eventually went on to write, Jeet Kune Do, because Bruce Lee was an avid fan of the sport of boxing and watched it religiously with his friends and training partners every Wednesday. That's what the legend goes. He was a huge fan of boxing. And if you read the book and you understand some of what he taught in his dojos and whatnot, you could see the influence that boxing had on him.
Okay. Let me see if I can play this really quick. Let me know if you guys can hear it. All right.
The mythology of Bruce Lee, who you knew very well, and actually your first movie.
I did my first film with him in 1972.
What was he like?
Well, Bruce, when I fought for the world title here in New York at Madison Square Garden in 1968, Bruce was doing a TV series called The Green Hornet, and so he was a guest. And after I had won the title, the promoter introduced me to Bruce, and so Bruce and I started talking, and we really got involved in our conversation. He says, "Well, let's work out when we get back to LA." And I said, "Okay." So we went back. We worked out together for a couple of years.
And what does that mean? Let's work out. You go
just
like
you just worked
lift
out
barbells together.
No, punching bags and and kicking the bag and all this kind of stuff. Here.
You're not fighting each other.
No, I was a professional fighter,
and he was not.
But he was good. He was good.
So you could have beaten him.
Well, I don't even know. I didn't want to go there. I didn't go, and Bruce didn't want
to. Paraphrase.
And I didn't want to go there. But anyway, we worked out together. And then Bruce left for Hong Kong to pursue his movie career, and so I didn't hear from him for a couple of years. And then he called me out of the blue. He says, "Chuck, I've done 2 movies in Hong Kong, and they're hugely successful." He said, "I want to do a movie now in Rome, in the Colosseum, with a fight, just like 2 gladiators." He said, "And I want you to be my opponent." Wow. And I said, so kiddingly, I said, "Well, Bruce, who wins this fight?" He says, "I win. I'm the star of this movie." Right. I said, "Oh, I see."
It's the only fight you ever lost.
No, I said, you want to beat the world champion," because I still held the world title. He says, "No." He said, "I want to kill the world champion."
There we go.
Well, to paraphrase Bernard Hopkins, D-style, ain't no way Bruce Lee losing.
He laughed and said, "I was a real fighter." He laughed.
Just saying.
He laughed.
Let's get to the caller.
All right, caller, you're on the line. Go ahead. You there, caller? Area code 509. Hello.
All right.
Area code 509.
Go ahead and call back 509. I don't know if you hung up or what.
Oh, there you go.
So D-Style, going back to your question is, was he legitimate? Was he a legitimate fighter as we understand it today? No, he wasn't. He didn't have a professional fighting pedigree, but his influence on all martial arts to this day is still
his philosophy, Dave. It was his philosophy that really had an impact on martial arts. But when people make statements like, "Oh, Bruce Lee would beat up Brock Lesnar. Bruce Lee would beat up Mike."
That's
Bruce
nonsense.
Bruce Lee would beat up Mike Tyson.
Also facts.
Come on.
This is where we go off the rails, Dave. That's the thing.
Oh yeah.
I got in an argument with my brother. My brother thinks that Bruce Lee could beat up any boxer. He could beat up.
He's right.
He could.
Hey, 92. Just call back, brother.
He said he could beat up Mike Tyson. He could beat up Brock Lesnar. He could beat up John Jones.
I said it earlier in the chat, Joe. Fury Lee is a 50-50 fight in boxing. All right. Well, if we want to talk like actual realistic
I want to see a master.
We got to talk Canelo, maybe, I don't know, like a Teofimo Lopez. Those are more like 80-20 Bruce Lee fights. Here you go.
Look at that technique. Look at that uppercut.
What does Christine think of his stance?
Oh my God! Look at him. Look at those.
Stephen A.
Look at those sweatpants. Look at those sweatpants. Look at that tank top. Look at the outfit.
I'm just going to say it first. Stephen A. is going to be the first transgendered world champion of boxing. So
there we go.
Oh my God!
See those sweatpants? Those sweatpants looked awesome.
Yo. So, D, what are some of your thoughts, man? Are you like a believer in Bruce Lee? Is he the real deal?
Please, D, don't tell me you're a believer. Please,
no. I didn't think that like as kids, we used to like to think that Bruce Lee would kick anybody's ass, right? We were kids. We were amazed that he was doing all of this on television. But I mean, understanding real sports, bro, I don't think that. I just couldn't imagine Bruce Lee in there with somebody like George St. Pierre. Like I know Bruce Lee is fast and everything, but I think George would just grapple him up and fucking choke him out, bro. Like that's what I
with
honestly
ease.
think, bro. I'm
With ease.
I'm
They wouldn't
sorry,
even be
bro.
a fight.
I'm sorry.
With
I
ease.
know he was quick and he had the kicks and all of that, but these, over the years, right? And I'm just gonna say this: you've seen these kung fu martial artists fight average MMA fighters. This is not like the biggest stars, the greatest MMA fighters, and get fucked up, fam. Like some of them got put in the hospital, and these was masters of this and masters of that,
Busted their face wide open.
and they got their asses beat. So
Busted face open.
Bruce Lee was a very, very talented choreographed movie star. Like that's it. That's how I think. I mean, he was great, but that's it. Jackie Chan did say he would beat Bruce Lee's ass.
He
He can really fight. He said he would beat Bruce Lee's ass.
Yeah.
Listen to this. This is from a real martial artist. What he experienced with Bruce Lee.
Oh, he talks or what? Well, because I don't want to
yeah,
get copyright, guys, but I mean,
No,
I'll play a little bit.
it's Bob Wall speaking on his experience there.
Another actor.
There's a rumor that Bruce is going to kill you.
We've got area code 509 on the line. Apparently, he's a big Bruce Lee fan. 509.
Go ahead. Bring him on.
Go ahead, 509.
Yo, can you guys hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah. What's the problem with Bruce Lee?
He's overrated and gets credit for things that he really didn't do. I'm sorry.
He's just a very good actor. That's all.
He was a movie star. It's a facade. He was a martial artist. Yes, they try to reprimand him for teaching, martial arts to the people in the States and the sacred arts and all that. But people were already doing the sacred arts. Like it's not this idea that they weren't. It's just not true. You just heard that. Look at all the Japanese that migrated to Brazil, like in the early 1900s. It's not like it's never been done.
Dude, that's a different sport. You're talking about Brazilian jiu-jitsu. That has nothing to do with his kung fu. It's mixed martial arts. Because there's another sport that was invented before that. Everyone's saying he invented MMA. I don't know where you're getting this from. And he's a movie star. He's not. No, you watch boxing. You're kind of like a UFC hater, but no one's ever said, "Oh, the father of MMA, Bruce Lee." No one's ever said that on any commentary.
Yes, they have. Dana White said it.
Yeah, Dana White credits him as being the godfather of MMA. He credits him for being the godfather.
He is the godfather.
Hey, Carl, let me ask you a question, Carl. Let me ask you a question.
Matter of fact, hold on, D.
Who's Corleone?
Matter of fact, James Brown should not be able to use the word godfather. That's all Bruce Lee. Go ahead.
Really quick, guys, hold on. Let me give credit to Big Dog Willie here. Says Bruce Lee was trained to kill and maim his opponents. He did. Hold on. It's a super chat, guys. Hold on. He didn't learn martial arts for the competition. Bruce Lee was a real killer. I only read that as a super chat, but shout out to you, Big Dog Willie. Go ahead, guys.
Hey, caller, I want to ask you a question. Did you see the movie Bloodsport with Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Really? Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Greg Dukes.
So in that movie Bloodsport, right? Jean-Claude Van Damme and the Kumite look like the best thing you'd ever see in real life. Do you know there was actually a real Frank Dukes? And he would have beaten the living shit out of Jean-Claude Van Damme. I'm just trying to give you an example of what Bruce Lee was.
That dude's a fraud too, D.
Caller, before you answer that question, when I was in the 5th grade, all of my best friends told me that Bloodsport was a real fight that was captured on film, and then they made it into a movie.
Frank Duke said he beat 10 guys in the tournament.
He did do that.
You can't do that in a single elimination tournament. Do you know how many people that is?
And we haven't even brought the ninjas into the equation. What about the ninjas?
Hey, yo, but let's let the caller ask your question to the caller. D. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. So I mean, do you think that Jean-Claude Van Damme was a real kick-ass guy, or do you think that was a movie? Man. Is he there? Caller, you there?
What the hell was that?
Area code 509. He's still there. He's still online. I see him.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, can you hear me? He might not be able to. Okay, so do you think Jean-Claude Van Damme was a real kick-ass guy playing Frank Dukes? Or what do you think about that?
I think he was. That's a great point. That's a great point that you bring. Jean-Claude Van Damme, Steven Seagal, Arnold, Bruce Lee, he blazed that trail of action fighters in a movie. Were there any action fighters before that?
Well, he's definitely iconic for that. He's definitely iconic for that in America, you know. But my point is that Jean-Claude played a Frank Dukes. There was an actual Frank Dukes, right? This was a guy who used to fight, and he would obliterate Jean-Claude Van Damme. But in the movie, Jean-Claude Van Damme looked great. And that's basically the persona we had with Bruce Lee. In the movie, his timing. See, with these choreographed fights in the movie, timing and all of that is necessary. Bruce was the best at that, right? He was the best at that in the movie. That's it.
Yeah, in the movie. The movie. You guys are... These sound stories like Bruce Lee's like a fucking he's an MMA fighter. He's not. He's a movie star, like a badass movie star.
That's what I said. I agree with you.
The problem here is that D Style and D Jefferson do not realize that these were real fights that they then made into movies. That's what they realize.
By the way, D, this Frank Dukes guy, he's a fraud, bro. That dude's a fraud. He was caught lying about all his Kumite stories, but yeah.
That's just you're not taking consideration the cultural and for Asians and Asian Americans.
No. Hold on, Naitoku. I don't discredit Bruce Lee for what he did. He was an amazing movie star. He had great charisma. Okay, he shined bright when the lights were on him. Okay, and he made some amazing movies. Enter the Dragon's one of my favorite movies of all time. I love that movie. Okay, but the reality is, when people use words like, "Oh, he was special. He was a special martial artist," like we don't have any evidence of this at all.
Actually, Desal, you meant to say documentary movie. Documentary movie.
Do you really believe, Naitoku, that he beat up some dude and then he destroyed the film so nobody could see it?
Obviously.
And then I'm expected to believe that, but then why destroy the film and we're all supposed to believe it?
I don't know that story, so I couldn't tell you fake or not. Or
well, D Style, look, let me ask you this, D Style. You heard of Harry Greb, right?
Yes.
And he was said to be one of the greatest ever, right?
Harry Greb fought in front of people, like stadiums.
I know. I'm saying, have you ever seen it?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen any of his?
No,
footage?
nobody has.
Well, I'm saying, so there you go. Maybe
That's not the same thing, though. When Harry Greb fought, hold on. When Harry Greb fought, let me make my point. When Harry Greb fought, he fought in arenas with plenty of people witnessing it. All the newspapers, from the New York Times to the Boston Globe, they went their way. They printed the story and they told the same story, so nobody was making it up. Okay, Bruce Lee, it's all hearsay with this guy. Hearsay.
Well, if that's the case, then George Washington never existed because we didn't see him.
What about this? What about what Joe Louis said about Bruce Lee and what he taught him and how he helped him become a better martial artist and win tournaments?
Was it Joe Louis, the former heavyweight champion of the world? Was it that Joe Louis or the other Joe Louis?
First of all,
Joe Louis, who was a grand champion in karate, bro.
First of all, Joe,
credits Bruce Lee for a lot.
Oh,
that means nothing to you.
Bruce Lee fucks bro, George Washington. George
That's
Washington
a hater right there.
losing his teeth, his fucking teeth getting broken.
Hold on.
Okay,
So you're telling me right now that if a dude never played in the NBA ever, okay, and we just had stories about somebody.
But he was a good.
Oh, this guy, he was really good at basketball. He could outplay Michael Jordan, and he never played in the NBA. You would believe it?
Never know, man.
That's like a street.
Like if Magic Johnson came out and said, "Yeah, I think he could have outplayed it."
No, but that's like a street baller. That's like a street baller who's good playing street ball, but he's not an NBA player. He can't make
Hold
an
on,
NBA.
hold on. No. That's not true. That's not true because Rafer Alston, whose name was Skip to My Lou when he played in and one, actually played in the NBA. So it could happen. It could happen.
There's G-Funky. There's outliers. There's outliers in everything. But the majority of people that are great street ball players can't make it in the NBA.
No, they can't.
I don't know what Bruce Lee would have done if a real fighter went up to him and started throwing strikes at him. I don't know. Maybe you guys.
This is what he would do. This is what he would do.
No, but in all seriousness,
then he would turn around and run.
In all seriousness, like when they say things that are supposed to impress me, like, oh, but these style, they have to slow down the film so you could see his kicks. Like, yeah, because cameras were shit back then.
Do you know
Chuck Norris was pretty fast, man?
Nobody said he wasn't fast, G-Funky, but like a lot of martial artists are fast. I've also seen clips of martial artists saying, Bruce Lee was fast, but he wasn't that fast. Okay, but here's the reality, guys. When Bruce Lee passed away. Right? When Bruce Lee passed away, you can make a lot of money if you told people you were a pupil of Bruce Lee. You can make a lot of money if you open a martial arts school and you said that Bruce Lee was the shit. Okay?
Can I ask G-Funky a question, D-Style?
You can make a lot of money that way. Go ahead.
Let me ask you this, G-Funky. Of course you're going to have people say all these nice things about him, but isn't it safe to say that because they were friends of him, they're going to say nice things about him? Like Chuck Norris was a friend of his, and when they asked him, who would win in a real fight? He goes, and he started laughing. He goes, I was a real fighter. But then he pulled it back because he was his friend. He didn't want to embarrass him. He knew he was gone. He knew he passed away. He didn't want to talk bad about him. Of course, his friends are going to say nice things about him, right?
No, just stop it, please.
I'll answer this. I'll say,
hold on, G-Funky. Because first it's Bruce Lee, then it's Donatello from the Ninja Turtles. I honestly, I don't look. You got to give these dudes their respect.
Do you think Bruce Lee could beat up the Mighty Thor?
The Mighty Thor.
Of course he could.
He could beat up Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet?
The difference is they're fake. I have actual, legit, real fight footage of Bruce Lee fucking motherfuckers up.
I'll say this about what.
Look, this guy has students that they believe he's a real deal. Like you know what I mean? These guys believe that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll say this about Chuck Norris, though. I mean, here's the thing, man. I mean, when it comes to competition and competitiveness, like if somebody asked me if another guy could beat me up and we trained together, I'd be like, hell no, this dude ain't beating me up. Like, I would never say yeah.
All right, let's get back to the caller here. 92, you still there?
What are you saying that he was a hype job? He was like a PBC hype job. They were just protecting him. And
God.
So the PBC fighters have fought real fighters, though. Real trained fighters. What trained fighter did Bruce Lee fight? We're gonna call PBC fighters like hype jobs, and Bruce Lee's not a hype job. Who's he fought?
There was no Dana White back then.
Bro, he took out the mob in Thailand, bro.
You saw him fight Kareem
Abdul-Jabbar.
Oh man,
Mr. Han.
He was Jake Paul.
Scars on his face.
He was NBA player before Jake Paul was. Okay.
Okay.
So if you don't believe he's a good fighter, then where do you say that he's a hype job? Then all these people, everyone's lying about him.
Yeah, they are. They are
don't
lying.
Compare him.
Yeah, they are lying.
Just don't compare him to real fighters. That's all. It's not that hard.
When someone
He
says,
doesn't belong in a conversation with a Mike Tyson. I'm sorry. One guy had real fights. One guy didn't.
D-Style, just stop it.
Chuck Norris was like 5'11", 190 pounds. Bruce Lee was 5'7", 135. There's no way.
Look, this guy's students. This guy's students right here thought he was a real deal. I'll vouch for him. I'll say this guy's a real deal right here. Okay. Look at what he's gonna do. Look at this. Okay.
Real deal.
Check this out. All his students, they're all in on it. That's what they're doing in martial arts schools. That's why the Gracies went around and exposed these motherfuckers. Okay.
That guy
they do the key thing and they swear it's all real.
That guy looks like a guy from a show that my wife watches called 90 Day Fiance.
That's a good show.
Andre's stepfather.
She's saying, listen.
That's him. Look.
Watch. Listen.
You can see it with the half moons. My chi is up now because of the filming. I have half moons in my fingertips now. That means the chi is just coming out.
Listen. We got a witness. Oh, look at this.
Okay,
you guys ready?
D-Style, this is fake.
They're all in on it, though. They all say, look at that. That guy, he's a witness.
Warner Brothers would have.
But I'm supposed to believe Bruce Lee's students?
Yeah, because Warner Brothers would have never put that on film.
I'm supposed to believe Bruce Lee's students.
They already did put that on film.
I got to ask Joe Habib a question.
Oh, by the way, really quick, that guy is actually one of the witnesses that says that Bruce Lee was a real deal.
Hold on. 135 pounds, Roberto Duran, Bruce Lee. Who wins?
Duran!
Boxing.
Duran.
Easy.
Duran.
You won't even know what to do against a trained fighter. I just don't believe that he's a real deal.
Who would win?
Hey, but 92, hold on, whoa. 92, give us some final thoughts, bro. Cook, give us some final thoughts before we let you go.
Yeah, my final thoughts is you're saying that all his students are lying, but what about Chuck Norris? You know, Chuck Norris, why would he lie about it? He's not a student, and Chuck Norris, he doesn't sleep. He waits. You know, Chuck Norris only breathes 5 times a day? He only breathes 5 times a day.
Did you know that when Chuck Norris does push-ups, he's not pushing himself up, he's pushing the world down?
Wow.
Yeah, so that's what I want to say. Dude, he's a movie star, and
all right. Yeah.
Who wins? Who wins, Bruce Lee or Goku?
Well, let's let 92 Aku finish his thoughts, and then we're gonna close it out. Go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, what you're saying is, you know, that there's a conspiracy that all the students are lying. You're a conspiracy theorist, basically.
I'm a realist. I don't believe in the tooth fairy.
All right. Shout out to 92 Aku. Thanks for calling in, brother.
I've got one last question, D-Style, for Joe Habib. 135, Sugar Shane Mosley, Bruce Lee, boxing. Who wins?
Sugar Shane.
Oh, man.
Stop. Just stop it. Christine, what's running through your mind right now? Talk to us.
I just want to thank Sylvester Stallone for my boxing career, because I would not be where I'm at today if it were not for him. On my bucket list, I still want a picture in front of his statue. Just saying.
Well, there you go. Hey, guys, this has been a great show. We're going to go ahead and wrap this one up here. Anybody have anything else you want to say before we wrap it up?
I do, man. Your caller's got me really confused, man. Did Gabe Rosado lose that fight in the movie Creed?
Yeah.
He did, right?
Yes.
First of all, that wasn't a movie. I thought that was a 24/7 HBO.
No, didn't Gabe win?
Because that actor Michael Jordan, he's pretty good. I thought he beat Gabe Rosado, but now I'm a little confused. Now I'm a little confused.
I thought Gabe won in Creed.
I have a couple questions.
Go back and watch it. Who would win in the fight, Hong Kong Fooey or Bruce Lee?
I don't know.
I have a couple questions for the doubters here, man. Obviously, Bruce Lee doubters. All right?
Go ahead.
Are you guys okay with Sylvester Stallone being in the Boxing Hall of Fame?
Honestly,
I am.
I don't think he belongs in there.
No, but he's in there in the celebrity wing, though. He's not in. There's a misconception that he's in there as a fighter, but he's not. It's a celebrity wing.
Canelo could not do this, okay? Hand speed. I'm just saying.
Look at that, man. Damn, that's good.
Look at that. See how he took that slice to the face? Not like nothing. Anyone else would be in the hospital. Anyone else would be in the hospital. They would be in the emergency room after taking a slice like that.
You know who? That's his name's Han, right?
Yeah.
The modern day Han, because he's got that special grip and shit. Like that could do all this type of shit is fucking Tyson Fury. It gets floppy. Okay, he's got like sharp objects. He's got an egg weight in it. He's got the egg weight. He's got like he could fuck up Han because he's got all types of shit in his glove. You know what I mean?
Facts. Mr. Han is like the old school Joe Rogan. If Joe Rogan would, sorry, not Joe Rogan, Dana White. If Dana White could fight, that's Mr. Han.
Who would win? He-Man and Masters of the Universe versus Bruce Lee. Who would win that one?
Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee.
By the way,
first of all,
I need to clear this up, guys. Rocky Balboa. No, really quick. Rocky Balboa, the fighter, is not in the Hall of Fame, guys. Please, like it's Sylvester Stallone, the screenwriter, is in the Hall of Fame in the celebrity wing. We have people. Bernard Hopkins was like, "Yeah, Balboa should be in the Hall of Fame," and like,
okay,
like, get the hell out of here.
Esau, what you're not realizing is that Michelangelo and Donatello and Bruce Lee, they're real people, whereas Rocky was a fictional character. You can't. You're mixing things right now, man.
Who would win? Who would win? Lion-O from the Thundercats versus Bruce Lee.
Here's what I want to ask people. Bruce Lee, okay? Bruce Lee was from like the 60s, right? The 70s.
Right.
There was no MMA in the United States until the Gracies came up with the concept, the UFC in the United States. Okay? The fathers of MMA in the US anyway are the Gracies, Ken Shamrock, okay? And then you have the Coutures, the Liddells that made it popular. Okay, like give credit to those guys. Stop saying Bruce Lee's the father of MMA, please.
You're you're giving me a plug right now for tomorrow's Live at 5 episode, D-Style, but I'll get into that later.
Yeah.
D-Style, what do you think? You think you could take Bruce Lee?
No. Look. Could Bruce Lee beat up like an average dude? Sure, I'm pretty sure he because he trained in martial arts. I just don't know how you would do with a real trained fighter, okay? How many stories you guys hear about?
He whoops some ass. That's what he do.
Some real fighters that are sparring partners, right? And people say, oh, he's so good in the gym. And what happens under the bright lights, okay, when they're in a real fight, right? Yeah. We don't know how good Bruce Lee is. Nobody knows. Bro, he might have closed his eye. Like, you know how many senseis I seen get beat up on YouTube?
Okay, D-Style, what you got to realize, though, is that because Bruce Lee actually was in fights to death. So Mr. Han has not lived to tell the story, okay? O'Hara has not lived to tell the story. In fact, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has not even lived to tell the story.
Let me tell you something. I would take Fury with that Han-like glove over Bruce Lee any day. Okay, that's a deadly glove, bro. I mean, you get egg weight, knuckles, like it could like transform.
Tyson
like,
Fury's the best.
You know who made the glove? You know who made the glove for Tyson Fury? Mr. Stark, Iron Man, because he's able to like transform it and shit. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, hey guys, but I want to be courteous to everybody that came on here. I appreciate everybody coming on. Christine, always a pleasure. Thank you very much. Always great friend to the show. Maestro Ra, tune in, guys. Subscribe to Maestro Ra. Subscribe to Chief Bunky 84. Subscribe to Joe B from Ringside Reporter. D. Jefferson, Speak Your Mind, Sports Talk, and Dave from 408, The Shoe Shine. And with that, we're going to go ahead and close this one out. Peace.
Who would win, Teddy Atlas or Bruce Lee?
Bruce Lee's the GOAT.
Teddy Atlas